Hey guys, Carton97 again. This time a review of the 1/100 scale Cluster Gundam from the Silhouette Formula F91 series. Starting off with the colors, and as you can see they are very vibrant. We're getting a dark blue for the torso here, the shoulders, the bottom of the feet, and also those pouches on his side skirts. We're getting a very vibrant white for almost the entire mobile suit, little detail here. We're also getting bright red for the cockpit panel, the crotch panel here, and the panel at the bottom of his crotch. And surprisingly enough, those are actually separate plastic pieces. So very well done. And even the red here is actually a separate part. Then we're also getting bright yellow, the two on the side of his front skirts, the ones on top of his front skirts, then the little chest fence here and the V-fin are all separate yellow pieces, so very well done there. And then finally, of course, we're getting the gunmetal gray for the backpack, some of the joints, the thrusters here. Once again, I'm quite surprised that they made this here a separate piece, so overall the color molding is pretty well done on this machine. Where it kind of drops the ball is with some of his stickers, but of course they're also good stickers. Those include the red ones here, which actually stay on quite well. The yellow ones here on his legs, but these, well, they don't really line up all that well. You can try to line them up at some point, but then they're just not going to line up somewhere else, because as you can see, they're perfectly lined up here, but then once you get onto the other panel lines, not quite as well, and also they go overboard the panel line, so they're perfectly lined up at the bottom, and then at the top they're not lined up anymore. So, well, they could have done a little bit of a better job there. Same goes here, perfectly lined up here, but then there's still some excess going on at the bottom there. So, well, you can't really get those done correctly unless you're going to cut them, but then how are you supposed to know that before applying them? The best solution there is to simply paint that up. And we also got yellow ones on both sides of the feet. Then also ones here at the side of those, well, removable hard points, because when you remove those, they're going to reveal some polycaps. Then white wrapped around there, and this one actually stays on surprisingly well, but once again the same problem. You can see that there's a little bit of excess going on there, while it is perfectly lined up here. And then the worst of the bunch are these wing stickers. From the side, they look pretty presentable, but then when you turn it around, turn, oof, pretty horrible indeed. And that's not actually the worst part of it all, because you might think, well, we're gonna fix that by painting it up. I'm a good painter, no problem about it. Well, you can see that there are supposed to be two panel lines here, because you know, the two that separate the red from the blue and then the red from the white. Well, guess how many panel lines are actually there? One. Then here there's supposed to be 1, 2, 3 panel lines. Guess how many panel lines are actually on the model kit? A grand total of 1. That's like Bandai saying to you, oh, you want to paint your model kits? Well, sucks to be you then. Because unless you're a very good modeler and you can draw your own panel lines, you're not gonna do it. That's really just inexcusable. I mean, it's completely fine that they gave us stickers. I mean, nobody expected that this was not gonna be a solid white piece. Heck, the Monster Grade X's Gundam even had like little wings that needed stickers, but this is just inexcusable. Then going on with more good stickers, the 90Y here is actually perfectly lined up with the engraved 90Y. Hey, this time they did engrave the whole thing, so if you want to paint this, no problem. It's perfectly molded in there. Then we also get some more marking stickers. But really, if the colors weren't vibrant enough yet, look at all the red is in there and how huge those are. Now, you gotta put them like here on the front skirts, on the legs, all over the place. And that's really gonna hurt your eyes. If it wasn't vibrant enough already, just wait till you put these on. Now we're gonna go onto the articulation. Head goes up, down, turns around, all the way, wobbles around. It is on a ball joint. And one cool thing is that I haven't mentioned any eye stickers, and that's because you do get clear green for the eyes, and then also the clear green that you see on top here is the same piece. And oh yeah, one sticker I almost forgot is that, well, the back of the normal stickers is actually silvery metal color. And what they did is you have to apply it at the back so the eyes do have a nice shine to them. So it's not just that you're staring into the hollowness of the head. It actually looks pretty nice and shiny. Then you just have to grab a black Gundam marker and go around the eyes to put on the black. And there it goes, one fin. And then the arms turn around all the way, put them out this way, then go up nicely 90 degrees. We'll rotate around above the elbow. Bend not quite 90 degrees, that's like only 60 I would say. Hands wiggle around, turn around, do everything a ball joint does, and they are those typical 90s style hands. Thumb doesn't move, the lower three fingers mold together, and then the trigger finger is separate, and they are all on hinges. Then waist rotates about that far, and when we pull it out about a little bit more about that, it will rotate around. So, well, if you want to do it, it still looks fairly decent, I suppose. Then putting that back on. The backpack is also a little bit articulated, and man, there goes the thruster. I'm pretty sure not that many things fell out when I was playing around with it earlier. So, a little bit of movement on the backpack. Really nice little extra touch there. Then the legs go out about that far. Front skirts are of course molded separately. Then you get about that far, not the best. Back about that far. Knees are double jointed, but well, you're not gonna get more than 90 degrees out of it. And almost all the movement comes from that top joint, and then the bottom joint gives you a little extra. But still, for the time, that is okay. The one thing that isn't okay for the time is that this leg just came loose. There we go. So the one thing that isn't okay for this time is no movable ankle guard. Well, that was pretty much already established by a lot of kids that came before it, so no movable ankle guard is inexcusable. Feet go forwards, backwards, side to side, and we'll also rotate around a little bit. They are, as usual, on ball joints. So articulation in general, there are some good things, there are some bad things. Overall, I would say that it's an okay kit for articulation. Nothing too bad, nothing too good. It's just pretty much what you'd expect from the time, with the exception of those ankle guards. Then going on to accessories. And just as with the articulation, we're getting the good, but we're also getting the bad. Starting off with the beam rifle, well, it's a white piece of plastic. There's nothing to say about this other than it could have used a second color, and if you really want it to look good, you might just want to paint it. The good news is that it does go into the hand rather well. Sits in there, it's not a big thing, so even those 90s hands will be able to hold it pretty good. It is a little bit angled towards the bottom, but if you angle the hand up a little bit, there we go. That kinda does the job, but we're gonna pull it out because a plain white piece of plastic isn't that interesting to look at. So why don't we get very nice clear green, but then we once again have that very boring white in there, and this should really be a lot more colorful. Unfortunately, they forgot to give us stickers for that, other than the yellow and black triangle there. Yes. Why don't we get a sticker for the 90? Why don't we get nice blue stickers for this? Why don't we get nice gray stickers? Why is it just plain white? And it only gets worse when we turn it around. We get a handle, but no way to connect it to the mobile suit. And I think we can all know, we can all figure out that that is not the best sign for a 90s model kit. As you can see, it's already starting to, well, flail around a little bit, and we can see that the hand isn't the most secure connection. So I think it's really only going to be a matter of time before those fingers decide to give out and he won't be able to hold the shield again. And really, this isn't the most aesthetically pleasing way to hold the shield. It just really looks like it's just dragging it along. So in conclusion, the shield kind of feels like it is a missed chance. It could have been a lot better, but they kind of dropped the ball on this one. Also, the handle is movable, but there's no real point in doing it. Well, you could always try to have him hold it up, but that doesn't really want to work. As like I said, these hands aren't the most secure ones out there, and just holding it up like that is impossible. You can't even do it out of the box, so yeah, you might have thought, well, we can do that. Nope. So I'm just gonna remove the shield, put it to the side there. And also one more thing about the shield before we really put it to the side, you can't really remove these. You're gonna have to disassemble the thing because they are, well, the pegs, there's a circle and the pegs go through the circle. So unless you take it apart, you won't be able to remove those beam effect parts, though I'm not really sure why you'd want to do that. And talking about dropping the ball, he also comes with two very nice looking clear beams, but they have bubbles inside of them for some reason. And I really don't get it. It seems like all of these, well, all the beams here that come with the old F91 Silhouette Formula kits have these bubbles inside of them, and also the other ones from this time. Like the Victory Gundams, they also have bubbles inside of their beams. For some reason, the shield doesn't have any bubbles inside of it. The face doesn't have any bubbles inside of it, and you might say, well, the shield is a little bit thinner, so it should be easier to not have bubbles, but then the face, well, the part that's in the face is pretty thick and didn't have any bubbles inside of them. So are they actually doing it on purpose because it looks more beamish? But that couldn't be the reason, right? Or is it just that much harder to not get bubbles inside these parts? Because it would, yeah, there's no way they're like bubbles all the way in here, but they're just invisible, because that at some point there would have to be a bubble on the surface and it would have to show. So really weird and also very unfortunate. And this one really has a lot. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bubbles inside of one beam. But at least the good news is it does go in the hand rather well and doesn't fall out. So in a functional way, it is perfect, and if you paint it up, well, it will look good. Then you just have to be lucky that your beam saber doesn't have too many bubbles inside of it, but you do get 2, so you can choose a little bit there. And then the one, well, actually the 2 accessories that are, for me, the main event of this machine are the 2 beam bazookas. And you have a right one and a left one determined by on which side the pegs are. And why this is, for me, the main event is because this is the only model kit of the F90s, F91s, F91 Silhouette Formulas, and Victory Gundams that comes with these beam bazookas. So you either have to pick up this guy or go without him. And it gets even better when we realize that these are actually pretty damn good. When you put them in the hands, they go on there perfectly. Just gotta get it in there. There we go. And there goes that one V-fin again. As you can see, a perfect fit. And then what the manual actually wants you to do is you remove these pouches, and then they will reveal a little hole here, and that is where these supposedly come in. But the problem is this is actually a very, very small peg, and, well, combined with this backpack that gets in the way, there's no way you can get that pegged on there. And you see, it doesn't even want to take the peg. You just put it in there, and this is really as far as it goes in, and it just falls out. It just won't stay in there. You can try as long as you want, but it just doesn't fit, and the manual seriously wants you to do it like that. So if you want to have the dual bazookas under the arm, you're just gonna have to put them in there and pretend that they are stuck in there. Because as you can see, you can pretend that he's holding it connected to that, but seriously, that bazooka is not connected there in any way, shape, or form. What you can do is this peg, which actually seems kind of pointless to have because you wouldn't really use this, is if you put it like this, and then you have like Freedom style with his rail guns. But then of course he can't grab the trigger, and if you turn around he still won't be able to grab onto the trigger unless he is pointing up. So yeah, really weird placement of the pegs. They really just should have made this a lot longer, and then it would have been perfectly functional. And what you can also do is, technically, if you want to go all out, you can remove these, and as I said, they reveal hard points. Same on the arms, those are the exact same polycaps there. And say that he's not armed up enough, you can put bazookas there on the left leg, on the left arm, on the right arm, and then technically you can also put them on the pouches there. So if you want to go all out Freedom style, you can put a hell of a lot of guns on there. And this also means that he is actually compatible with the option packs the F90 comes with though. So he might not be that great with accessories of his own, but he sure knows how to use the other accessories. And then one final feature of this machine is of course the core fighter on the back. And this is without a doubt where G Gundam got the core lander idea. Actually, you pull this out, and gotta give him credits for having a full transformation. And then this goes out, and then you have a cute little core fighter. Of course, this will require a hell of a lot of painting, but really no big of a deal because you're not gonna see the thing anyways. Full out the wings, and then you just, oh yeah, and if you want him in core fighter mode, there's also a little tail fin that flops out. Gotta put it back in there, connect it, and there you go. And it's actually a really nice little thing, but of course those wings are pretty bad. And one warning though is this is a movable thing, but it's actually really hard to just put it in there because it's not all that solid. So you might have to do a little bit of fiddling and try to pull it out and then put it in, or else that thing is just gonna ramble around inside the body. And then the final feature of this machine is revealed when you remove the core fighter. It is a very interesting storage rack for the bazooka. What you have to do is pull out these claws. And then the good thing is that there's actually a little hole there to put the peg in. And you slide it in. And that thing seems to be the only part of the mobile suit where it actually kinda wants to stay. You just close these things, and I really like this. They were smart enough to put a little peg in there, but then still these claws do give a little bit of extra support. So if you want to put away your bazooka there, because of course they're not going to stay on those pouches on the side, you can put it in there. Or, as I said, you could... The odd thing is that that is the only peg where... Well, that's the only hole where this peg wants to stay. It doesn't want to stay on the polycaps, doesn't want to stay on the pouches, but fortunately it does want to stay on the dedicated storage unit. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And well, I can't really give a definitive answer to that question because this guy has it all. The good, the bad, and just the plain ugly. And let's immediately kick off with that. Well, when your mobile suit has a broken main feature that is advertised on the box, well, you know, you're not doing that great. Well, you might as well release a Destiny Gundam with the Wings of Light on the box art, but then not include them. That's something Bandai never would do, right? But yeah, it doesn't want to fit on the pouches, doesn't want to fit on any of the hard points, and well, it's not just advertised on the box of this guy, but the feature that you can put the Beam Bazooka on the sides is actually also in the manual of the Gun Blaster. So yes, the feature that is advertised on not one model kit, but two model kits just plainly doesn't work. Inexcusable. Talking about inexcusable, well, the ankle guards, you might want to forgive them, but in my book, on a 1/100 scale, from the 90s, this is a no-go. This is really the only one who doesn't have that. So, yeah, they should have just been separate. I mean, these parts, you could easily do it, just hook them up with the feet and end of story. And the final really inexcusable thing is not giving us enough panel lines on these wings. Seriously, what were they thinking? I mean, it's obvious that it's on the panel lines. It's just Bandai saying, well, sucks to be you, and having the correct colors on these stickers is just adding a little bit insult to injury. Like I said, the stickers aren't my problem. The panel lines really, really piss me off. Then moving on to just the bad things, the shields could have been better. Either give us color separation, give us a few extra parts, or just give us the stickers. Not asking for a lot, just give us a few more stickers. I would have been absolutely okay with that given the time. And the same goes for the beam rifle. I mean, at least give us like the barreling gray or the handling gray, or give us a few stickers. Now it's just a white piece of plastic, which is really, really unfortunate. And this is just a 1,200 yen kit, which actually makes it the cheapest Gundam type of all the F90s, F91s, F91 silhouette formulas, and Victory Gundam. So put a little bit more effort. They should have just put a little bit more effort into those bad things, and of course also the ugly things. Give us a few extra parts here and there, make the peg a bit longer, give us extra parts on the ankles, give us a few more panel lines, jack up the price to say 1,400, 1,500 yen, and then we would have a really nice model. But let's end it on a good note. The articulation is pretty good for the time, and then of course this machine is actually a very good team player. It might not be that great as an individual model, but when you look at this kit and what it does with the other kits of the series, well, this is the only one, as I've said, that comes with the Beam Bazooka. So when you buy him, you can pass around the fun. The Gun Blaster even has it mentioned in the manual that he can use the Beam Bazookas of the Cluster Gundam. And also with these hard points on the legs and the arms, of course, the main thing there is that it can use those extra add-on parts used by the F90. So all the add-ons the F90 can use, this kit should probably be able to use too. So if you want to give him some extra accessories other than this little beam rifle here, and when you want to pause around the Beam Bazookas to other kits, you can still give him some nice armament. So when you want to use him in conjunction with other mobile suits, this kit suddenly becomes a lot more interesting, because hey, if you want the Beam Bazooka for your Gun Blaster or any other kit, you're gonna go with this kit or you're gonna go without. Now, one final thing I gotta mention about how it looks. This is really, well, either you like it or you hate it. The head is very retro looking, and then the overall color scheme is very, very, very bright. So that's really something that you're either going to love or you're going to hate. For me, I'm more on the side that doesn't quite like it. So, but also, as I said, for 1,200 yen, it is a very cheap model kit. So for what you're getting, I would say it's kind of worth the price if you like the way it looks. And then, of course, especially if you have, say, a Gun Blaster or you have an F90 hanging around with some extra accessories that you might want to use on this guy, then, well, you do get a nice amount of bang for your buck. Then, for some size comparisons, here is next to the Silhouette Gundam. And, oh yeah, one thing I think I haven't mentioned, this is a core, well, with the core fighter there. You might think that you can use the core fighter of the Neo Gundam, but no. When you pull this out, and then you will see that, first of all, the shape is completely different, so it won't even go in there. And when you turn it around, you can see that they just don't line up. But now going on with the size comparisons, putting this back in there. There we go, and you can see that, well, the color scheme of the Silhouette Gundam is a lot more pleasing. And finally, don't forget how small these late Universal Century machines are. Here is next to the Jim-Kai, and as you can see, significantly smaller. And the Zaku 3, when we're counting complete height, including the antennas, he is actually significantly bigger when we take into account that it is a high-grade Universal Century kit. Head height, he is fortunately just a little bit smaller. But that's all for this review, and see you guys next time.